Hey guys, it's Becca from In a Bookshelf, and today we are going to be discussing Ruby Red by Kerstin Gier. I read this book maybe like 2 years ago when Christine from Poland Bananas Books read this. I picked it up like real quick on my Kindle. I didn't really read it. It was like one of those things where like sometimes when I read my Kindle books, like I'd skim, pages. And so I didn't really read it, so I decided to really pick it up this time because I was looking at my half-price bookstore and I saw this book and I just like, wow, like I wish like I had read that, like for real read that and like really enjoyed it because the story is so interesting and so different than any other YA fantasy books out there. Guys, I loved it. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I completely enjoyed it. I think I read it in probably about a day and a half. It was that quickly for me to read, but of course I was on summer break when I was reading that, so it might take you longer to read it. This book is so different than anything I've ever read, and personally I think that if you love to read YA fantasy and you love romance and adventure and mystery and just like overall drama too, because there's a little drama in this book, I think you're gonna love this book. For those of you who don't know this book was really popular. It's actually a book that was published originally, like I think in German. I'm pretty sure that the author's from Germany and that the book was translated into English. If you are gonna get this book, I suggest you get the hardcovers because I'm actually gonna buy the hardcovers. I saw the hardcovers in Half Price Books the other day and they were beautiful, and I'm gonna buy the hardcover editions now because they're like that pretty. If you are gonna buy this book, get the hardcover editions. This book is about this girl named Gwen. Gwen and her family have this big secret. Every once in a while down the line, someone in Gwen's family line will have this gene to where they can travel back in time. At the beginning of the story, Gwen doesn't have the gene, okay? Her cousin Charlotte was predicted to be the one to have the gene. Now, the gene doesn't present itself till she's maybe about like 16 years old, which is how old Gwen is. First, they'll start to have like dizzy spells, and then like out of nowhere, they'll just travel back in time. Now, since Charlotte has been predicted to have this gene, she has been training her whole entire life, doing martial arts, fencing, everything, learning different languages, learning history, just preparing for her to have to go back in time because it's not something she can really control. But Charlotte's having a hard time because it's been weird because she hasn't been traveling back in time to where people keep thinking, this is gonna be time, it's gonna be time. But she still hasn't time traveled. I think you know where I'm going with this. Yes, Gwen finds out that she's actually the one that has the gene and she gets to travel back in time. There's so many different elements to this book. I mean, along with like the time traveling thing, there's this boy named Gideon who, Gideon. There's always got to be this heartthrob in the book, and Gideon was the heartthrob, okay? We all love Gideon. Gwen was such a great character. I loved like reading from her point of view. Honestly, I feel like she was like me in book form. She was very kind of nerdy and kind of awkward, and I think it's something that anybody can really relate to. She doesn't really get a lot of attention from her family because all the attention, like all the spotlight is always on Charlotte, and Charlotte knows it. Charlotte's a very arrogant character. But yes, I really enjoyed this book. There's action, there's mystery, there's suspense that I just read the book, okay? I'm explaining it too much. I just really enjoyed this book, and I think you guys will really enjoy it too. So if you haven't picked up this book already, go and pick it up, and then you can come back and watch the rest of this review and we can discuss it together. So for the people that actually did read this book, weren't you just like so excited when Gwen finally started to get her genes and she went back in time? Because I don't think I'm the only one who really actually hates Charlotte. I hated Charlotte, I hated her mother, okay? Charlotte was a very arrogant character. She felt like she was better than everyone else, which it's because her whole entire life she's been told that she is special, but actually she's not. It's actually Gwen. Gwen is actually the special one. But I think she was always just so mean to Gwen since the beginning of the book, and I'm so happy that it was kind of like an in your face, like actually I'm the special one, you're not. At the beginning of the book we have this prologue with these two people, okay? and they're like in this other time. We don't know who they are, but they're obviously like in love. They want to get married. They're running away from people, but they keep talking about this girl that they will see like 16 years later. Now we know that is actually Lucy and Paul. And okay, I know this is like the beginning of the review, but is Lucy and Paul, like, is there like a slight chance that Gwen is obviously Lucy and Paul's daughter, right? Like, it's obvious. Like, it's gotta be obvious, but at the same time, wouldn't people, like, wouldn't they have seen that Lucy was pregnant? Like, I just feel like that would have been something that we would have found out, that she was actually pregnant before she went and stole the device and then went back in time with Paul to live forever. But at the end of the book, where we have that little chapter with Lucy and Paul, they were kind of talking about, oh, she has your hair and she has your eyes. She looks just like you. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Is that your daughter? It's got to be her parents, because Gwen doesn't have the same hair color as the rest of her siblings or her mom. Apparently, she gets it from her father. Well, her father's actually Paul. I know it. I love characters that are clumsy and like they don't have themselves all put together. I just feel like I connect more with those kind of characters. And Gwen was that character. Like, one thing I really loved about her quirkiness was that she could see and talk to ghosts, and like they would get so excited whenever they could talk to her, whenever she could see them. Especially Henry. Henry was like the funniest one. Like, he kept talking about how her friend was just like had freckles and was like, it was gonna be hard for her to get a husband. It was just so funny because he was like back from like maybe like the early 1900s or like the late 1800s. I just thought that was so funny. Whenever he popped up, I was always entertained. And I really hope maybe in like the next book that we see her going back in time. Maybe she can meet James. Like, that would be so awesome. And maybe she could help him and prevent him from getting sick so he wouldn't have to die. I didn't like Dr. White at first, but then there was like this little ghost person, or this little boy that was like popping out, you know, behind him. And I just knew it was a ghost because nobody was like talking about like the strange little boy that was just popping up out of nowhere. And then we heard like the story that Dr. White actually, his son like died at his birthday party. Dr. White hasn't been the same ever since. That's kind of why he was kind of like a mean character at first, but then once you found out his story about how his son died and he hasn't been the same ever since, you kind of sympathize. I hope in the next book maybe Robert will find peace, because he doesn't feel like he can leave his father. He said that he hated his father before he died. So I feel like we might have got a little piece in the first book, but I hope that we can further on that. Also, can we, in the next book, we need to figure out who this man in black is, whoever's watching their house and like watching Gwen whenever she crosses the street. It's just weird, okay? We need to figure it out. Also, when we found out that Gwen had the gene and we went to the warehouse where everybody was at, Mr. De Villiers, I believe that's how you say his name, he had a thing for Gwen's mom, okay? And they had a thing like in the past, so like I hope that, because Gwen's mom's like alone, so I hope that maybe her and Mr. De Villiers will get together. Okay, so then when we go there and Gwen is kind of trying to figure out how she can time travel with Gideon, okay, what is this secret that everyone keeps talking about? Her mother knows what the secret is. I'm guessing Lucy is the one who told Gwen's mother. But there is this secret, okay? And I feel like if it was a dire secret, then maybe Gwen's mom should have told Gwen. Because she was gonna meet the Count, and let's talk about the Count for a second. The guy, like, used telekinesis to wrap his hands around Gwen's throat and like threaten her, and she didn't tell Gideon. Like, I feel like most of the problems in the book would have been solved if Gwen had told Gideon. Like, she would have told Gideon about the Count, okay? And then Gideon would have been alarmed, and they would have been gone back in time at the end of the book. And when Lucy and Paul were saying, you need to talk to us because we need to tell you stuff that you don't know, like you've been brainwashed, then maybe Gideon would have had a sense, well, the Count wasn't that nice of a guy, and maybe he would have listened to Lucy. I was just like so frustrated because I was like, Gwen, okay, all of our problems we solved, just tell freaking Gideon. And then they're attacked trying to go home in that carriage, and we all know the Count is the one who set that up. And then there's this like raven power, or I don't know, that Lucy is trying to keep away from Gwen, and like I don't even know what that is. Like, what is that? Like, the mystery in this book is epic. Like I mean, like it just kept me reading a lot. And Gideon, let's talk about the heartthrob Gideon. Okay, I liked Gideon. He was never like mean to Gwen. And some characters in some books, like in some YA books, the guy is always slightly like mean to the girl. But Gideon was never like mean. He was more like kind of sarcastic, but like not in like a mean way. Like he was purposely like doing it. I feel like he felt bad for Gwen because she was like thrust into this situation that like she had no idea how to handle, and Charlotte was just being a bee, you know. She's not a very supportive person because she's not special anymore. And her mom was crazy about it. Like her mom wanted her to have this gene so bad. But like, I hope Charlotte and Gideon never had a thing. Or I hope that there's no drama that Charlotte tries to get with Gideon in the next book, because no. I feel like the kiss at the end was kind of just them like discovering the kind of chemistry that they had. Because Gideon was like, oh, she's not my type.
Obviously, she's your type if you were gonna kiss her at the end of the book.
But then her freaking ghostly powers messed the kiss up. Like, they could have been kissing more if that gargoyle person hadn't came up and distracted her. Like, I was like, kiss, 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 kiss. Like, their lips touch. And then, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh my gosh, are you serious? You just interrupted us. Anyways, I just thought I'd give like a quick review on that because like I'm really excited to read the second book because I'm like just so happy that I picked it up again, because like I kind of skimmed it with my Kindle and I thought that I didn't like it, but then you have to actually read it, obviously. I really liked it this time around. I really enjoyed it. As I said, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave comments down below how you felt about it, because like I would love to talk about, you know, some of the books like in the comments below. I usually always comment back. I'm really excited to read the next ones, and I can't wait to get like the hardcover editions. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!